Welcome aboard, all you wonderful groomers, pet stylists, and canine cosmetologists. You found the Traveling Groomers Podcast, where we discuss lessons learned from mobile and house call grooming. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bear Anthony. Any moment now, we'll be joined by my co-host and friend, retired mobile groomer and educator extraordinaire, Mary Oquendo, and very likely a special guest to help us chat about all things grooming, grooming industry related, and just plain fun digressions that I will totally wrangle back to topic. Grab those travel mugs and climb aboard to see where today's topic will bring us. Let's roll. Yeah, for some reason the computer is not picking up the soundboard, so I'll just edit this out. We'll start all over. Hi, Mary. How are you doing?
Pretty good, Chris. How's it going?
It's going well. And all of you lovely people out there, groomers and pet stylists and the odd pet parent who may have wandered in, that's fine too. Welcome to episode number 277, recorded on Happy Friday the 13th, and will be airing on September 18th.
Okay.
I have floaty hair in front of my camera. Fun times. So, Mary, we have topics for today.
Yes. What are those topics, Chris?
So the topics for today are Hershey. We're going to talk about what happened at Groom Expo. Dun, dun, dun. I say that like it's this big thing, but we're just going to talk about the show in general. And then we're going to be talking about why we are recording on a Friday and not our usual Wednesday. And apparently, Chris has a strong sense of civic responsibility. Who knew? Who knew, Mary?
I don't know. You're asking the person who has jury duty this week.
So you actually got selected as a juror?
Nope, not for the first week. They sent me home.
Okay, they sent you home. My strong sense of civic responsibility is severely tested by jury duty because I can't really schedule dogs, but I never get picked and always get sent home.
Can I tell you how 2 people got sent home right away?
Did they wear like so-and-so for president? No, how?
One person basically stood up and said that is lawless and that he's not going to vote anyone guilty just so the prosecutor can get brownie points and maybe get a promotion.
Wait, internet connection was bad. I missed the beginning of that. What was lawless? I just heard something was lawless.
Clallam County, Washington is apparently the most lawless county in the world. Okay. He hates it here. He hates the county. County is all evil. It's corrupt. And he is not ever going to vote somebody guilty just so the prosecutor can get brownie points and get a promotion.
That is one way to do it.
Okay. That was one. Another guy that got excused was because he compared the jury system to Nazi Germany.
Jesus fuck! Sorry, that's not usually a swear I pull out on air, but mother trucker. Whoa!
Yeah.
Back the fudge up. I like how I try to tone it down after I pull out. Jesus fucking wept. Like,
what was the point of that? But
anyway, I
I
don't know. That was just sheer shock pouring out of my mouth.
So that is
wow.
How 2 people got excused pretty quickly from the jury pool.
Wow. I don't even know how to feel about that because I want to say I hope they actually felt that way and weren't just being shitty trying to get out of jury duty. But at the same time, I'm not sure I want anyone to actually feel that way. So
I'm thinking they could go either direction on that. I think the first guy who said the county was evil definitely had maybe some substance abuse issues going on,
Or or untreated mental health issues.
or untreated mental health issues. Just just saying. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how I would do it, but okay.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So anyway,
Wow. Um,
so I have to, it's jury duty is a 2-week thing. So I was let go for the first week. And now I called for Monday and they say, don't bother coming in, but keep calling because we may have a trial starting Tuesday.
okay. And you
But they're
know,
calling in 2 other groups, so I'm guessing if they have enough jurors
yeah.
that they're calling in, that they're not gonna bother calling in, my group again, so, but we'll wait and we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It's tough and jury duty is annoying, but we count on that. That's really necessary. That is a super important part of our judicial system, and it is an important civic responsibility, which
So I think there were several people that were let go because they were the sole income, you
yeah.
know? So they were let go. Um, and, anyone else they let go was because they were simply not suitable for the jury that they needed.
Yeah.
Okay?
And also if you have a prejudice either way, like if it is for a criminal trial and you have either law enforcement in your family or are one of those people who are very against anti-law enforcement or have prejudices either way, you really shouldn't be on a jury.
So they had a lot of questions that they asked. They asked, of course, did we know any of the parties? And did we know each other? All right, because there were a couple of neighbors there. And they were like, well, if you're both on the jury and you're both feel different ways, is this gonna be a problem being neighbors?
Mm.
You know? Um, they asked about law enforcement. And so, yeah, I have a brother who is a deputy in New York. And they asked, well, how do I feel about that? I was like, well, personally, my brother's an idiot. But I don't think like all deputies are idiots, just my brother, because I personally know him, you know?
You know
So,
what? And that's the watch the magic of me bringing this right back to grooming. You can't generalize. There are people in law enforcement who are amazing and there are ones who are not. There are groomers who are amazing and then there are groomers who make us embarrassed to be in the same category as them because they're like, "Oh my God, what just happened on camera to the dog?" Oh, and since we're talking about civic duties, can we talk about the lawsuit? Dun dun
uh,
dun.
yeah, you know what? I actually wanted to have a real in-depth kind of conversation about this.
Mhm.
I thought maybe we would save the detail of it. I mean, I think we should touch on it, but I also want to touch more in depth on the live stream we do on Tuesdays because there's more people with different
Oh, no, I say we talk about it both places
okay,
because what a roller coaster.
yeah,
You know what? It's like a minute or so early. We're going to take our first commercial break and
okay,
then we'll come back and we'll actually start with that because to me, it ties into Hershey
okay.
because I started getting messages about this as I was driving down to Hershey on Wednesday. My phone starts blowing up because this happened in my state. And my fellow officers of the NJPPGA were like, in our chat group, was like, "Oh my God." It was a whole thing. But
Yeah,
all right, let's take our first commercial break, Mary. I think it's something you might know a little bit about.
okay. Don't hear anything.
You didn't hear why did you wait till now to say that?
Because I can't get your attention.
Well, what happened was, oh, I think I know what the
You have to do a
entire
lot of editing,
problem
Chris.
is. What was that?
You have to do a lot of editing.
I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing because this is not gonna be on the video. I think I know what the problem is. Yep, there it is. Hang on. Ah ha ha ha. Ah ha ha ha. Let me try that again for our YouTube. By the way, say something.
Something.
Oh, son of a motherless goat. There we go. That should do it. Something?
Something.
Okay. Are you ambitious and motivated? Looking to pivot your career within the pet industry? Hesitant to take the first step? Unsure of how to begin? If so, the Create That Program monthly membership is tailored for you. Gain access to over 20 hours of recorded content, invaluable workbooks, and practical checklists. Additionally, benefit from a monthly group coaching call with Mary Oquendo, a two-time nominee for Barclay's Contribution to the Industry Award. Are you prepared to make a worthwhile investment in yourself? For just $197 a month, initiate your journey towards leaving a lasting mark on the pet industry by joining Create That Program. Join today at createthatprogram.com. Yeah, oddly enough, my soundboard only talks to the computer when it's plugged into the computer.
Okay.
I know, right? Crazy. Crazy.
Okay, so I saw the post when it first came out. So for those who, what we're talking about is somebody put up a post that they were being sued in small claims court because of and I think she was a little vague on it, due to a matted doodle. Okay. And the post really was, so when I first read it, I got the impression, which I didn't understand, that she was an employee and why was she going to small claims court? And that the problem had been, with the matted doodle, that there was skin irritation resulting from
But
the matting.
see, wait, you're getting ahead. You're jumping ahead
Okay.
because this was a roller coaster ride because
Yes.
the first information we got was just owner took the groomer to court for shaving a matted doodle, and the owner won because the judge said, well, you didn't do what they wanted. So that was the first thing we got.
Yes. Yes. Which, because we're all freaked out.
Lost our minds.
Because you know what? It's, dog comes in for 4 months or better, matted dog. Yeah, no, we're shaving the dog. And basically, I mean, as information was like trickling in, it was because that something wasn't initialed where it was supposed to be initialed, that the owner understood, and which started to open up a lot of cans of worms. So you know what? Since she wasn't
Yes.
responding right away, a couple of groomers took it upon themselves
To
to
do
do a
some
little.
detective work. Yes, because
Oh
the
my God,
first
let me
thing,
tell you something. There are some groomers that if I need information,
y'all are talented as fuck. Because first it was then it was, oh, they signed a release form and that didn't even matter. Then we lost our minds again. Then some court documents popped up in comments. And then we started to go, oh, because it was what the owner stated happened in court. And we're like, there's something else had to have happened here. There was more of a problem because, like we said, the first thing we heard was just the lawsuit was because they shaved the doodle and they didn't want that, and they had to pay $350 or $380 or somewhere in that. Then it was, we got the statements. And only 100 of that was refunding of the grooming. The rest of that was vet bills. So there were vet bills from skin irritation.
Okay, now, but here's the thing too. So again, still, all right.
But still,
well, yeah, you don't brush your dog for 4 or 6 months, there's going to be skin irritation. That's not my problem. Okay?
Except what happened was, you beautiful sleuths, you are gorgeous people. I almost went Samuel L. Jackson and went, you're gorgeous MRFers right there. Y'all dug up a copy of the quote unquote release form. Oof, Mary, you saw that, right?
No, I did not.
Oh, I saw a copy of the release form. So what it was is, it was one of those forms where it was, name, date atop, and initial by anything that applied. And it was like medical things. The matted pet section was there with an area to initial by it. All these things were, I forget what the various other things were, and sign and date at the bottom. The only thing that was signed was the bottom of the page.
Okay.
The matted pet release actually was not signed because they had to initial that segment. That was the part that said that matting can cause and can hide, and there can be irritations, and to really basically release and hold harmless from XYZ. So no, they didn't get the matted pet release signed. So if I were a judge and the groomer says, well, I told them all this, and I said, prove it, and you hand me this thing, I said, well, this isn't signed or initialed. You can't prove that you told them this. You can't prove that they knew about this and that there was a danger of this happening. You're going to have to pay for their vet bills.
Okay. And okay, just a little interjection here. So 2 things. Number 1, a judge is going to be to the letter of the law in the state in which you live. Okay. Which is why you have a business attorney go over the paperwork with you to make sure that you understand what it is you're asking somebody to sign, and that someone signing it, what needs to be done, and that it is legal and it is enforceable in your state. Because just because something is enforceable, let's say in Connecticut, doesn't mean that it's enforceable in West Virginia. It has to be for your state. And a state business attorney is going to know that. So you need to have a sit down with them, discuss what it is you need, and let them craft you something, and again, understand how you do that. Okay.
Yeah. And
So
that is super very important.
Number 2, audio and video recording. You need to have it.
Take pictures, even if you don't have audio and video in your shop. If you'd have had 20 pictures of the condition of that dog before you saw it, of the matting, during the shaving, and the finished groom, where it shows no irritation, that might have been helpful.
That might have been helpful. But let me tell you how easy it is. I mean, you can get a Ring camera set up that is really easy peasy to do. Okay.
That records audio. So it'll record the conversation you had with them.
And if you pay for that, the yearly thing, it keeps the audio and video recordings for you. So you can go back and pull it if you need it. Okay? And a Ring system. All right. So if you have one at your reception desk, and the way I would angle it is that it's right in front of your desk, but also where there's a visual to pets walking in and walking out.
Yeah.
Okay. And then one by the grooming station, or multiple if you have multiple grooming stations. Okay.
There was actually a time in corporate where I told the story about the Maltese ear, right, Mary?
Yeah.
Where the tip of the ear came off in the bloody comb.
Yeah, I know you've told it, but I think It bears repeating.
It bears repeating on this because this is one of those situations where even though there was no audio, because it was corporate and there was a video camera that was angled at the front and my station was right at the front, everything got caught on camera. Everything, me taking the dog in, the fact nothing hit the dog, it didn't get caught in an ear, me putting it in the crate, me taking it out, the fact that my scissors weren't anywhere. They weren't even out. They were in my drawer. And I had a comb. And what happened was, what we believe happened was, to the best of my guess, is the tip of the dog's ears were so matted for a while that it cut off circulation to the ear. So when I combed it, now the tissue was dead and necrotic, and the dog went meep. Didn't scream, and literally like a meep, like when you pull a knot a little too hard. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, baby, I know that hurt. And it looked like a big thing of fur came off. And I saw a stripe of red. Not bleeding, because we all know ears are vascular and bleed badly. A stripe of red along a hair. And I'm like, what's that? And I look at the ear, and the ear looked funny. And I went to pick up the comb, and the tip of the ear, like if this is my hand's a triangle ear, just the tip was in the comb attached to the mat. I'm not sure how I didn't like freak out and vomit. And all I knew was that the salon manager was training new groomers, and I didn't want to freak out them in their training. So I'm like, I gotta act cool and like nothing happens, and just page the store manager like my pants are on fire to get his ass in here and just explain this calmly so I don't freak out the students. But internally, I'm freaking out.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Especially since, I fucked up, Mary. Because I did the same damn thing. This dog was matted all the time. And it had that kind of hair where it always just brushed out. So guess what I did, which is the same thing this groomer did, which was an idiot and I will never do again. I didn't have her initial by the matted pet portion.
But that matted release from corporate saved my butt on one occasion when a woman comes in and she brings in a pelted Bichon. I was on vacation for 2 weeks. My mother was watching the dog, and my mother bathed my dog every single day.
Oh, that would do it.
Yeah. And she was like, can you save this? And I'm like, no.
Nope.
And I made her sign the mat. And I said, your dog is going to be, I'm so sorry, but your dog is going to be naked. She picked up that dog, and that is the first time I would say the first time I ever made someone cry.
Naked mole rat is not a good look on a Bichon.
No,
it's not really a good look on anything except hairless dogs and cats.
Yeah.
And even then that's up for debate because, you either think hairless cats are adorable or that they're the ugliest things ever. I don't think there's an in-between.
So the point there kind of being paperwork and signed paperwork is a really good thing.
Yes. No, it's a very, very good thing. And the only reason I came out okay in that is because I was working for corporate and they have lawyers and they had on video that I did nothing wrong. So I got the mildest slap on the wrist about you really should sign the matted pet release. And I was like, oh, I'll never make that mistake again. I mean, literally, that's all that was said to me about it. And they took care of it. And I do not know what happened. Do not know what happened from there on. But Yeah, we talked about that a fair amount over the weekend, and I need to go into those threads and do a deeper dive because it honestly looks like a lesson in how not to do customer service.
Well, yeah. Okay. And I think, and again, and that also brings up the whole don't jump to the gun. Jump, see something, and your first reaction is to get pissed off. And we're coming into political season right now. If you see something, your first reaction is to be pissed off. Okay. You need to step back, take a deep breath, find out if it's actually true.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's as close as we're coming to talking about politics. But yes, all of that. Also, that is apply that to your life across the board because
Across the board.
for the first 12 hours, all I saw was, well, I'm not taking any matted dogs ever again, or I'm not even taking any doodles. And it wasn't even what we think of as a doodle. It was like a Havapoo. It was like it was a smaller, it was still a poodle mix, but it wasn't your typical golden doodle, labradoodle, bernedoodle. It wasn't anything that ended with doodle. It was something that ended with poo. And I don't know if that makes any difference. But yeah, that was just a little crazy. But please, y'all, breathe. Don't jump to conclusions. Fact check and be like those hero groomers who pulled court documents and found this. I don't know how they did that, but where's my wild applause button? Because I just can't even imagine
Hey, Chris. And they didn't hear a single word you said over that.
I'm sure they did. Editing. It'll be fine. It'll be
Okay.
fine. Anywho's a what's it? Is there anything else you wanted to say on that? I know we're going to go into more depth on Tuesday.
Oh, and more depth on a live stream on it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there was there was a lot on that.
I still have to catch up, but I had a lot of stuff going on. And I had other research to do, which we'll talk about later. But yeah. All right. On that note, let's take our second commercial break of the day. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
I know when I'm on the road grooming, I want to keep things rolling along. With a 9-foot clearance, Hanvey mobile grooming vans actually fit through most drive-throughs to make lunch and banking on the go a breeze. With their clean running diesel engine getting up to 5 hours runtime per gallon, you're spending less time and money at the pump. Visit Hanvey.com today to configure the mobile grooming van of your dreams.
My microphone is a little hairy, Mary.
Okay.
Anyway, so Hershey was marvelous.
Well, Hershey usually is. I mean, it's a great show.
Yes.
And it's one of the benefits of a really large show.
The downside was a lot of things happened that I didn't get to see because I was behind the booth, slammed, thrilled to be busy. Don't get me wrong. Thrilled to be busy, but Hanvey made a big announcement about their new vans and new technology. And somebody asked, "Oh, what's the deets on Hanvey?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I gotta go still look at that." But they did a live.
So
I
you're
gotta
probably gonna have to ask Ashley about updating the commercial then for Hanvey.
maybe. Ooh, maybe we do. Maybe we doodly do. But overall, I didn't hear, well, I did hear some stuff about theft. Did it? I don't think Amanda had anything
taken?
No,
Did
I
you?
don't think so. I don't think so.
They were a little more on it this
Oh, that's
year.
because Angie was the bouncer there.
Angie was a bouncer. They had cameras. They had lots of bouncers. It was intense. But I think last time the problem happened not during the trade show, but probably happened after, like after hours. But this time one of the vendors in the hallway got like a double armful of smocks taken right off their rack in the hallway while there were security guards who may or may not have been paying attention.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would want a booth that wasn't behind the closed doors at the end of the day.
Being in the hallway is a little intense.
I mean, there's pros and cons to it. I
Yes.
mean, you can open up before the show even starts.
Yeah, that's also a con. That's a pro and a con, Mary. Because 8:30 in the morning to 6 is a long day.
It's a long day.
That's a long. So yeah, we were in the booth starting at 8:30 in the morning because let me tell you, if we were up and running on Thursday, we had people on Thursday. And we're like, we don't have the square set up. We're not supposed to be selling yet. I think we fit 2 people and said, come back tomorrow, which they did. And that was amazing. But yeah, being in the hallways has its pros and cons. So that was amazing. And congratulations to another grooming podcast.
Mm-hmm. That's the name. We're not just saying another.
Yes, we're not just saying
that's the actual name of the podcast.
That's the actual name of their podcast. Did they win last year too?
Yes, they did.
That's 2023. No, they didn't, because they're not on the banner for 2023.
Who's on the banner for 2023?
Groomer Problems, Handling It, the Traveling Groomers, and the Groom Pod. So I'm guessing it was Handling It who won last year.
Might have then.
Okay. But, remind me to tell you something off air. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just nothing that has to do with the podcast. And if I didn't tell Mary now, my squirrel brain would forget. And then at 11:30 at night, I'd be like, I really don't want to call Mary right now and tell her, because that's when I remember it.
11:30 your time, it's 8:30 my time, you're fine.
Yeah, but I'm also like maybe 2 drinks or an edible in, and may not be feeling like having an in-depth conversation also.
Okay, so what is it you need to tell me?
Off the air. Just say that and I'll know. We're fine.
Okay, so I'm going to write myself a note here.
Chris, make your brain work and tell me.
Something to tell me.
I wrote a cryptic note to myself to also. So if I give you a blank stare, say, look at your damn note, Chris. I'm telling you, the fact that I made it to well into my 40s before I realized that I was neurodivergent and not everyone thought like this is a minor miracle to me. But now I know, oh, good gods. My mother is calling me. It is 8:46 at night. It is past her bedtime. I am recording and I don't know what to do. We're going to pause. All right. So, all right. You get one guess as to whether or not that was actually important.
Oh, it wasn't important.
It was not important. It was not important. It was not important. And if I did my editing successfully, y'all won't know what the hell we're talking about. But I had to edit out a little bit of a block because my mom called me and her bedtime is usually like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So it is 10 to 9 my time. So I'm like, oh, what's going on that she's calling me? She's right at their age where it could be a problem. So I answer. but everything's fine. We're fine. She's forwarding me an email that she didn't know what to do with. I love my mom, Mary.
Okay.
She makes me absolutely batshit crazy sometimes. That's how I know I actually love her, because, you know, if I didn't, I probably wouldn't give a fuck.
All right. And so moving
Anyway.
it along, where were we?
I don't bleeping know. What were we talking about? We were talking about Hershey and another grooming podcast, and congratulations, and notes and neurodivergence. And I haven't heard of theft being that big of an issue.
Yeah, I didn't hear I haven't heard anything.
I just heard that one story that was the problem. So thank you guys for doing better than last year. Somebody was still a little bit of a thiefy twat. Well, I should make up a new word for that. Anyway, oh, squirrel, sorry. I think it's time for a commercial break. I'm just going to say it's time for a commercial break and pick a button to press. Okay, you know I love my Evolution swivel shears, and you even know that these customizable shears come in non-swivel as well. But did you know that they're the only ones I've been trusting my sharpening with for around 15 years, and that's how we met? What? You haven't tried their sharpening yet? If so, send in your next batch of sharpening and you'll get one shear sharpened for free with a $75 order just for telling them where you heard about them. Your shears and blades will thank you. And by the way, thank all of you who listened to us and came by first thing on Friday and dropped off their stuff. It helps the sharpeners manage their schedules so much better, because then we knew kind of by midday Saturday how big the Sunday pickup box was. Because if you say, oh, I'm going to be here all weekend, Sunday's fine. Then we know at a certain point, ooh, that's a lot of shears for Sunday. We're going to stop taking in sharpening so that everything gets. So it helps us manage our time better so that we can, you know, let Mo do things like go to the bathroom and eat. Lunch is good. But any other questions about Hershey? And did you hear anything? We talking
I heard nothing. I heard nothing.
Team Evolution had 2 trophies, maybe more, at least 2 trophies.
For what?
In wire. Andy Rossini won 3rd place in entry, and Christina Muse won 1st place in entry. Now she is bumped up to intermediate.
Okay.
So yes, it was a very exciting weekend for Team Evolution. And I think there was another placement, because I remember them coming by and being like, yeah, I can't leave this because now I got to go. So we had trophies behind the booth. So that was fun.
Okay.
Stay tuned and follow our Evolution TikTok account. Sorry for the segue here, but if you like the video where I stole Mindy's leg, keep watching. We have a whole body part series planned with corny dad jokes.
Okay.
So,
All right.
So, Mary, you want to ask where I was on Wednesday and why?
I was just about to ask you, where were you on Wednesday?
I was in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, in the heart of the Capitol, literally in the Capitol building and in House and Senate office buildings.
Wow, nice.
It was so much fun. So basically why I was there, Pet Advocacy Network, along with other groups, sponsors Pet Week on the Hill and Pet Night on the Hill. So what we did during the day, and I'll tell you what I was nervous about, and then how it actually went down and why I went and all of that stuff. So basically, one of the things that the Pet Advocacy Network does is it monitors bills and legislation that has anything to do with the pet industry. And they have opinions about it because they have members like manufacturers, distributors, pet stores, pet food things, veterinary groups, and groomers. They do represent groomers. And part of the reason I went was because the Pet Advocacy Network has been there for New Jersey. Like when I've had to go down to Trenton to talk about the regulations they were trying to pass for licensing of pet groomers and how, because it was so poorly written, reps from Pet Advocacy Network was there. They were there to help us and to support us and to say, no, this is not written correctly. And they listened to what we had to say. They helped a lot with California. When they were fighting their own legislation, they were very involved. So I thought, well, they were there for me. I need to be there for them, number one. And number two, even though it may not directly impact me, because at the time when I signed up, I didn't know what bills we were going to be talking about. I thought I am a part of the pet industry. This is important to me. I should pay attention to what's going on, not only on a local, but on a national level. And yeah, apparently I have a strong sense of civic duty. Who the fuck knew? But the thing I was worried about was because what I knew, all I knew was they would brief us on whatever bills, and they gave us this lovely folder, and they would have summaries of the different bills and what they wanted us to ask for and the talking points. So me being me, what I was really nervous about wasn't so much talking to congressmen and senators and representatives, but I was like, well, what if they want me to say something that I don't agree with? Because then I just won't talk about that bill because I can't say things I don't agree with. Because I have a big mouth and I'm opinionated, but I have to be genuine about it. You know what I mean, Mary? Like even if you've done me solids in the past, if you ask me to stand up and say something that I disagree with, I can't do it. So I was so relieved when I looked over all the information and found that not only did I agree with everything they were going for to various degrees. Some of it was like, yeah, okay, whatever, that makes sense. Some of it was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. This has to happen. I'm so excited for this. So you want to hear about some of the bills?
Yes, tell me.
Okay, and I want to tell all of you, and I have more information because I think if any of these speak strongly to you or you think it's important, take a minute, send an email to your congressman's office because they pay attention to what their voters want. They really do. And don't feel bad if a staffer replies to you and it's not your direct representative, because these congressmen and women have so much on their plate. They are such busy people. They really do rely on their staffers to get them the information, to dissect, to point them in the right direction. I don't think they have time to read everything in detail. They probably should, but I get it being busy because I didn't have time. I'm going to sometime over the next few months go in depth and read these bills. But, so I don't even know where to start. You want me to start with the one I'm super excited about or save that for last? Because it's so good. So good, Mary.
I want to hear it first.
Okay. Oh, it's the best thing ever. So this is really, really new. This is so new that on our handouts, it didn't even have a number. And it just got introduced in the House. It does not have a Senate counterpart yet. All right, for those who have not had to deal with legislation, how that works is a bill will get introduced in the House, and House and Senate bills are different because they have to be approved by different people. So this goes for state and federal level. So you'll have a House bill and you'll have a Senate bill, and they'll have different numbers, but they'll have the exact same language, and they have to be passed both with the exact same language. So it'll pass the House and then it'll go over to the Senate, and it'll just have a different number designation. So this just got a House designation. It does not even have a Senate counterpoint yet because it's so new. And this is HR 9508, the People and Animals Well-Being Act of 2024, sponsored in the House by Claudia Tenney in New York and Deborah Ross in North Carolina. All right, so basically what this bill does is, Mary, you're familiar with what an FSA or an HSA is, correct?
Yes.
So that is a flexible spending account or a health savings account, flexible savings account. And a lot of insurance, health insurance has this, where it'll take so much a week or a month out of your paycheck and it'll put it in a separate account. And it's to cover things that aren't directly covered by your insurance, but are related to your health. For example, you can get little tiny portable nebulizers on Amazon, which are fantastic because they fit in your purse. Like, I'm talking tiny nebulizers that fit in your purse if you're having an attack and you need it. Things to that extent. And there's lists of different things that you can spend it on. But so many people don't because we don't think about it. And it is a use it or lose it savings account. So I'm reading from my prepared material. So approximately 1 in 5 American households have one or both of these types of accounts. And they're tax advantage programs that let you set aside funds for medical, dental, and vision expenses. And each one has different qualifications, restrictions, limits, etc. However, because it's a use it or lose it situation, approximately 48% of these account holders leave money on the table every year. And every year they give up as much as $4.2 billion. That just goes away. It either goes back to your employer or to the insurance company, however it's written in there, that it goes away. You know, Mary, you're having your dogs makes you feel better, makes you more active because you got to walk them or at least pick up after them. Wouldn't it be nice to take some of that money and use it for, I don't know, vet bills?
Yep. Yeah.
Pet health insurance. So that's what this bill does. This says this will let you use some of that money that you might let disappear. And it caps it at $1,000 because it's like, all right, let's not take away all the health benefits for people. Let's cap it as $1,000. But $1,000 is probably enough for pet health insurance for at least one pet. That is super helpful. The other thing it does, and this is why I got so excited about this. If you have a service dog, that is registered through the ADA, not through the scammy, stupid paperwork that you just fill out forms and fucking pay for, an actual factual service dog, there is no cap. You can spend as much of your FSA on it as you have available, because these service dogs, and like, I knew they were important but I didn't fully feel it or realize it until I saw Mindy and Luke together, and I've gotten to know them. And these service dogs make such a huge difference in the quality of life for their people. It's amazing. So this is a really good bill. There's a lot of laws out there that are like, I guess they're okay, or all right, that makes sense, we need that, but they're not exciting. This one is exciting a little bit. Or is it just me, Mary? Am I just nerding out for no apparent reason?
I think you're nerding out pretty good.
Oh, okay, I'm nerding out for good reasons, because, oh my God, this is amazing. So, guys, seriously, write to your legislators, write to your representatives in the House to support HR 9508, and to your Senate to co-sponsor its equivalent in the Senate, because right now it needs help in the Senate. So it's a very easy ask. It doesn't raise anyone's contribution. It doesn't ask for money. It doesn't need funding. It's taking money that is already there, that already exists, that was probably otherwise going to waste, and puts it to amazing use. So,
Okay.
super, super exciting. And I just realized I have a few more bills to talk about, but we have 2 more commercials left. So I'm going to give you all a moment to digest that information. And we'll be right back. I love being a house call groomer, but I hate doing laundry or worrying about asking my clients for fresh towels. Raypet has solved those problems for me with the Wet Pet disposable towel. Taking up much less space than traditional cotton towels and easy to wring out and reuse, these super soft, comfy, absorbent towels eliminate any cross-contamination concerns between pets. And now their new smaller washcloth size can even help those sensitive eye areas. Great for cleaning out wrinkles gently and thoroughly. Need to keep water bowls for your clients on hand that are easy to disinfect, but hate all the room traditional clanky metal bowls take up? Or just have a very active pet? Their collapsible silicone bowl comes with an aluminum D-ring hook that can be attached to your pet's leash or anywhere else in your van for easy storage. You can get one by itself or in their handy travel kit, along with a set of 3 tick removers and 1 small wet pet towel. So stop by their website to check it out, raypet.net, and tell them the Traveling Groomers sent you. Alrighty. So,
So before
yes, before I
Before
go
your
nerd out
volume.
specifically again.
No, so before you talk about the other bills, so we also, well, not everyone saw it, but Chris showed us pictures of her hotel room.
Oh yeah. I'd also like to take a moment to talk about there's a reason cheap hotel rooms are cheap. For those of you who don't know, a hotel room in Washington is exceedingly expensive. Alexandria is a little bit better. Alexandria, Virginia, which is right outside DC. However, yeah, I found a deal on Expedia, and the
Oh, God,
reviews.
no, right there, Chris.
Hey, now I've gotten some, there's some,
This is my soapbox. I'm never going to book a hotel from any of the booking sites.
now, normally I don't, but here's what happened. And this should have been my red flag. Okay.
Okay.
So I called them and I said, hey, I see this rate on Expedia, but I know it's booked directly through you. Should I book it through Expedia or should I, book it through you? And they're like, well, our walk-in rate is normally more, but I'll just take down your information and what rate you said, and we'll give you that one. I'm like, okay, you don't need to take any credit information from me. No, we're fine.
Like that would have been a huge. red flag.
Okay, that I should have. And I just booked it through Expedia. My second red flag was when I got there and I went to check in and he handed me a card to fill out. I've never seen those in real life. I go to a lot of hotels, Mary. Evolution puts us in nice hotels, thank you. So this was my first experience with a one-star hotel. I said, oh, this was an adventure. This was my adventure. I had a big adventure Tuesday and Wednesday, Mare. So I filled out a card. Then I get to the hotel room and I open the door and I'm like, wow, this stinks. I'm worried about my clothes stinking from being in the room overnight. I'm like, there's no amount of Febreze that's going to fix this room. This is what I get, but it's not safe to sleep in my car, so this is where we are. I got my stuff unloaded and then I walked towards the bathroom because I really had to pee. And when my sneakers started going squelch in the carpet, I realized why it stunk so bad. It was because the toilet was overflowing. So I got another room. That one was, the toilet worked. I would have liked pillowcases.
Oh God.
I would have liked.
Hotel. There's really, you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. I considered sleeping in my clothes on top of the comforter, except on top of the comforter is where everybody puts things. And the sheets, shockingly, looked really clean. So I'm like, cool. So I pulled a sheet up over the pillows and put down towels over the pillows. So yeah. I had the room for 2 nights and it was cheap enough that I just walked away for the second night. I didn't check out Wednesday morning because I thought on the off chance that I'm too tired to go home, I guess I can sleep here a second night, but I'd rather not. But it was cheap enough. I just walked away from the second night. I'm like, that's cool. See ya. Yeah. And yes, Angie made me push the chair in front of the door. Even though there was a deadbolt, there was technically a deadbolt, she made me push the chair in front of the door, just 'cause.
All right.
Part of the problem was I learned about this last minute. So now I will just budget for next year.
Yeah.
To do
get
it
someone
better.
to go with you, split the
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah. Because honestly, it was an amazing experience. It was an absolute amazing experience getting a chance to walk around Capitol Hill. And you learn things. Like, even though my purpose there wasn't tourism, I caught part of a tour of the Capitol, which you can tour the Capitol building for free. I learned why the crypt is called the crypt, even though there's no dead bodies in it. And I didn't realize that so much of the Capitol was connected by underground tunnels, which is pretty neat. You don't have access to all the tunnels. There's actually the Capitol subway. There's like metro lines, and there's actually certain ones that are just for staff.
Yeah, I went to Lehman College in the Bronx, and all of the campus buildings were connected with underground tunnels.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, some of the tunnels were a little sketchy.
These were not sketchy tunnels. These were not sketchy tunnels. That was not, the hotel in Alexandria was all of the sketch for my trip. That and finding the Spot Hero parking spot that I booked. But next year, and guys, so if you want to go to this next year, we'll find out when it is. Hit me up. We'll get a better hotel room.
Seriously.
Holy moly for holies. Angie talked me out of a shared room. And there were two options for a shared room, and one was a hostel, and
Oh,
both
God.
can't, and both.
I'm like the fact that you even considered it.
For a brief second.
Seriously, that the fact that it even crossed your mind.
Fine.
I am surprised that Angie did not drive down to Jersey and smack you around a little bit.
No, she smacked me around enough, and I said something to Cam, and he's like, "What? You didn't use the word hostel. They've had movies about this." Fine. But the other option was an actual nicer hotel that had shared rooms. It was like a hotel that had rooms like that where you could get a bunk bed in a shared room. And I'm like, I would have felt safer probably in that hotel with a shared room, even though it was a shared room. Angie would have driven down to Jersey and smacked the crap out of me for that one. But I would have probably been more comfortable there than in the hotel I wound up with. So now we know.
Use or anything like that?
What was that? I did. They were fine. And Abby with Evolution was like, "You're driving down there by yourself and you found a deal? You send me the link to this hotel." She even looked at it. She's like, "Well, it's on a major highway and the reviews seem okay." Oh, it was 100% a hotel no-tell.
What was the name of the hotel?
Budget Host Alexandria. I feel bad for shouting them out, but because, there were two TVs in the room. One of them worked and one of them was propped up in the corner. There was 3 remotes for the 2 TVs. 2 of the remotes turned the TV on once I plugged it and the cable box in. But all it did was turn it on. And
$6 a day. I mean, seriously.
for what was that?
I'm seeing here, Alexandria Hotel, some $66 a day.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah.
So review. This one's, it's got 3.5 stars, which is not horrendous. It does say it's a 1-star.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's 3.5 stars for a 1-star hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. Look,
Okay.
it was a bed. There were no bed bugs. I checked. There were no mouse droppings and no bed bugs. Listen, I have a strong sense of adventure and a very non-existent sense of self-preservation. So
Okay. So anyway,
I had an adventure.
so long. Let someone else book your hotels going forward, okay?
This is why Abby does all the hotel bookings. This is why she's, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so I think that was enough. We can do our next commercial break, and I will go on about some of the other things we talked about. We'll be right back. Wait, that's checked. I shouldn't hit that button. I should hit this button. And speaking of continuing education, because we either were or will be, join the Andis World Class Education Team each month for live interactive virtual classes. You'll learn new and trending styles, as well as tips and tricks from some of the best groomers in the industry. Whether you're looking for basic skills, trending styles, advanced techniques, or even just ways to spark your creativity, the new Andis Grooming Education site is your source for finding what you need to create your way for success. Try new techniques, learn from the pros, and grow your confidence today at andis.com/groomer education. Traveling Groomer Podcast listeners, hey, that's you, can get 25% off your first course today with the code VEGROOMING at checkout on andis.com/groomer education. All right, so I am going to skip to one that I think will really kind of resonate with groomers, because we deal a lot with rescues a lot of times. As much as many groomers tend to straddle the rescue and the purebred world, we do a lot of work with rescues. And according to the National Institute of Health, it's estimated that roughly 1.6 million dogs are imported into the US each year. Now, making up that number is just people who go on vacation and see a dog and bring it back, importation from breeders, and a lot of these rescue groups who will go in overseas and go, oh, look, here's a truckload of dogs that are about to be sold for meat. Let's bring them and get them homes, which is admirable. However, only about 1% of these dogs are screened and have any kind of health certificate. Only about 1% of this 1.6 million are seen by a vet, which is a little bit of a problem. So back in August, the CDC, actually earlier than August, but the CDC was like, this is insane. And they put in a strict ban, and they followed this up in August with new rules restricting dog importation across the board. However, because they're so strict, it affected legitimate breeders negatively, because it was harder to get it in, and they had all their health things in place, but it's like, nope, can't bring it in. So what this act does, this is the Healthy Dog Importation Act, HR 1184, Senate Bill 502. It's a little more flexible. It basically says that every dog that comes in has to have a certificate of inspection from a licensed vet confirming that they're in good health and not at risk for spreading zoonotic diseases that would endanger animal and public health. So it's a little more flexible than what the CDC has in place, but would still protect the health of our animals and make sure healthy animals are coming in, because, not only do we not want zoonotic diseases coming across the border, because we've never had issues with that in the past, but you don't want to adopt a pet and fall in love with it and, oh, it's sick and now it's dead and it got your other dog sick. Like, no one needs to go through that heartbreak. And that was one of the things that I was, like I said, I was really worried about going into this was, am I going to agree with what they want me to say? because I'm opinionated, Mary. Have you
You really?
noticed? I know you're all shocked. I hope Angie wasn't drinking soda. I hope everyone was sitting down and no one was scissoring around a dog's face when you shockingly heard that I, Chris Bear Anthony, have very strong opinions about lots of shit. But I was cool with everything that they put out. I mean, one of the other bills was the pet food uniform regulatory reform, the PUR Act. I just like that they called it the PUR Act as well. I'm sorry. It's stupid, but it's real cute. Basically, that makes label requirements uniform because now each state has different requirements on what is on a pet food label. And it is an absolute nightmare for manufacturers to try to have different labels for different states. And if this was uniform across the board, we would know what we're reading. It would be easier for the consumer across the board, and it would be easier for the manufacturer, and it would be regulated.
Will it be regulated? Will pet food labeling be regulated? Because a bigger issue is that it is currently not regulated. And many companies can put whatever it is they want on the labels.
Well, according to the summary for this bill, and I have not read the bill in its entirety because if you've ever tried to read through one of those things, and I have, it's one of those, it's not written in English. It is written in legalese, but in the summary.
Yeah, tell me about it. There's some bill that they're talking about on the TV. There's, well, we're for it, we're against it, and I don't know what to vote on it. So I went to the website to read it, and I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea what this bill is about.
You have to, especially if you're of an older generation and you like things on paper, you have to like print it out, sit there, read it 5 times, take notes. I mean, eventually you'll be like, you'll figure out exactly what it's saying, but if you're not used to reading how this stuff is worded. And by the way, words are important. It's important that it's written certain ways because the difference in the word shall and may is vast. And I forget exactly what we were talking about the other day while I was in DC, that if you think about it, shall is concrete, it's set in stone, you have to do this, versus you can do this, you may do this, may or may not. But in the summary that they have written, it says, additionally, the current regulatory framework does not offer an efficient review and approval process for new ingredients. Pet food makers need a structured, predictable review process by experts in pet food safety and nutrition that will help them provide the latest in science-based nutrition to pets, bring novel ingredients to market more reliable, and eliminate commerce disruptions. So we need to have a streamlined pet food regulatory system with a federal approach of consistent high national standards that are transparent, clearly defined, and encourage innovation. So just as a pet owner, this is something that I need to read the details of in depth and in detail. But if this will do that, I am 1000% for it. Because I look, vegan translates to expert label reader. I want to translate that to my pets. And I think as we are becoming more health conscious as a country, we're in general reading our labels a lot more. So we do want to do that for our pets, right, Mary?
Yep.
Yepers. So do you want to go through the rest of them? There's just, what was that?
Yeah.
Nah. Okay. Nah. The one other one that didn't feel like it affected me very much, but also hit me on a level, dealt with writing in language. Dealt with writing in things in the actual legislation. And that's one of the things we dealt with in Jersey with our legislation. You think you want it in the law, things to be spelled out very clearly, but the problem is when things are spelled out too clearly in the law and too exact in the law, that means in order to change it, you have to make a federal case about it and literally get an act of Congress to amend it, as opposed to saying, the Department of Agriculture are the experts in this field and they've done a damn good job so far. Maybe they should do what they know how to do because we're lawmakers and not scientists.
Okay.
So that was what the other one was about. So definitely go on the Pet Advocacy Network website. There is a whole section for Pet Night on the Hill. There are videos, there's news, there's details about all these bills, there's videos you can watch for Pet Week. It's really interesting. So exciting things are happening in the world regarding the pet industry, and be a part of it, be informed. You work in the pet industry, y'all. If you're groomers and listening to this, you work in the pet industry.
Okay. So on that note,
that was Mary waving me on going, yeah, we're over time. When I tell you I get passionate about things and I decide that something is important to me, I need to share it. So I'm going to make a point to reach out to the Pet Advocacy Network and have somebody on to talk more about what they do, and keep an eye out for that episode. In the meantime, safe travels, guys. Well, that was fun, but now it's time to head home. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed chatting with you. If there are any topics you'd like us to discuss or guests you want to see join us on this crazy road trip of ours, let us know in the Traveling Groomers Facebook page. Don't forget to thank our sponsors. And see you next week, guys. Safe travels.